Here's something nobody tells you when you start out. If you write nonfiction, you can sell your book without writing a single chapter. With a novel, you have to write the whole thing first and then go looking for a buyer. With nonfiction, you sell a document called a proposal. Get it right, and the publisher hands you a contract to write the book you just pitched. That is the dream, and the proposal is the key to it. Welcome back to Fireside Writer. I'm TJ Stecker, novelist and retired naval flight officer. And lately, I've been living in this exact type problem. I just finished my own proposal for my memoir, Cleared for Flight. It's the story of how I lost my leg in a boating accident and then 24 months later became the first amputee in Navy history to earn his flight wings. To try and sell that book, I had to build a proposal from the ground up, and I learned a lot doing it. I'm going to walk you through every piece the nonfiction proposal needs, using my own document as an example, and I built a clean, fill-in-the-blank version you can download and use for yourself. Stick around to the end where I tell you where to grab it. So why does nonfiction work like this in the first place? It comes down to what the publisher is actually buying. With the novel, the story itself is the product, so they want to read the finished story before they commit a dime. But with nonfiction, especially memoir or narrative nonfiction, they're buying an idea and the author to carry it to the readers. And those two have to line up. A brilliant idea attached to a writer no one has heard of is hard to sell. But a big idea attached to a thin audience is hard to sell too. The book proposal is where you prove that the idea is strong and you are the right person to tell that story. Here's the mindset shift that helped most. Your proposal is doing two jobs at the same time. It's a business case for why the book will sell, and it has a writing sample that shows that you can actually write it. Every section has to serve both of those at once. Treat the thing like paperwork and it reads like paperwork, an editor's pass. It opens with the overview. It's the most important section in the entire document, because it's the first thing the editor sees and the thing they see that decides whether or not they're going to keep moving forward. It is your hook and your argument compressed down to 1 or 2 pages. Start with the moment that makes the stranger want to know what happens next. Mine drops the reader off the boat in Pensacola in 2009. The afternoon I went overboard and went through the propeller. No throat clearing, no resume, just the scene. From there the overview widens out to the stakes and the one question the whole book is trying to answer. For me, it's simple. Can an amputee complete military flight training? Nobody in the Navy had ever had an answer to that. Then, before you close, you name the audience right inside the overview. I point to readers of Lone Survivor and to the millions of veterans and families stuck inside the opioid crisis, because my recovery runs straight through opioid dependency. So by the end of the page, the editor knows the story, the stakes, and exactly who buys this book. Next, the proposal answers the blunt question every editor is silently asking. Why you and why now? 2 sections carry that weight. The first is about the author. This is your credibility on that specific subject, written in third person. For my memoir, the strongest credential is the lived experience itself. And then my background as Navy aviator and attorney backs it up. Keep it tight and relevant. They do not need your whole life story, only the parts that prove that you are the right person to tell this one. Then comes the next section, which matters more than most writers care to admit. Platform is your built-in audience that editors can reach without lifting a finger. Your email list and your social following are the core of it. Any media that's covered you adds to the case. In nonfiction, the platform is often the line between yes and no, because the publisher is betting that you can help sell the book. And here's the honest part. If your platform is small right now, it's the single most fixable thing on this list. A channel, a newsletter, or a steady presence. It all compounds over time. The writer who starts building today has a real answer in this section. So start early. Start now. Quick break, because the back half of this proposal is where most writers rush, and it's where a lot of deals are quietly won or lost. So if you're getting something out of this, do me a favor and hit subscribe. Here, every week. I walk through the publishing road one step at a time. Now back to it. So after platform comes comparative analysis, the section we just call comps. These are the published books that yours would sit beside on the shelf. Good comps pull double duty. They prove a market already exists and show an editor where your book fits inside that market. There is a real art to picking them. You want titles that sold well and came out recently, usually within the last year or two. But don't reach too high. Comparing yourself to the #1 bestseller of the decade, and you look like you don't understand the business. But aim too low, and there's no money on that shelf to point to. For Clear for Flight, I use Sebastian Junger's My Time of Dying, and Kyle Carpenter's You Are Worth It. And here's the move that people forget. For my comp, I say plainly how the book is similar, but also how it's different. The similar part proves the book belongs on the shelf. The different part proves it earns its own spot. An editor is looking for something familiar enough to sell, but fresh enough to also say it's worth buying. Next, the proposal has to prove the book has its own structure, even though it's not written yet. You do that with 2 paired sections, a table of contents and a chapter-by-chapter synopsis. The table of contents is the skeleton, just your chapter titles in order, but the synopsis is where the real work lives. It's a paragraph or 2 on every chapter in the book. It shows what happens in the story and how the story moves forward. Mine runs from prologue in the water to 13 chapters, to the winging ceremony and a short epilogue. That is the quiet purpose here. It proves you can carry a narrative across a whole book, scene to scene, all the way to the end. 2 sections left, and the first one is what most writers dread, the marketing plan. A lot of new authors assume that marketing is the publisher's job, but publishers don't see it that way at all. They want to know in concrete terms what you will do to get your book in front of readers. I lay mine out as a timeline. In the run-up to release, I build momentum with Fireside Writer, using a series on pitches to veterans and military media. Then I keep the book alive with evergreen content and speaking. You need a specific plan that proves you'll show up and do the work, because that promise is part of what they're paying for. And the last piece, sample chapters. Remember, the manuscript is not finished, so this is your audition. You include 1 or 2 fully polished chapters that prove that you are the person who can write this book you just spent 30 pages pitching. Pick your strongest, most representative material. I included my prologue and the chapter where my entire career came down to the jump off an aircraft wing, trusting that my prosthetic leg would hold on impact. This is the moment that the business document finally turns into prose, and the editor hears your real voice on the page. If the rest of the proposal is what sells your proposal on the paper, these chapters are what close it. So that is what a nonfiction proposal has to do. It has to prove the book's worth publishing, and prove that you are the one to write it and sell it. I took every section we just discussed and built a template that you can download and use for your own book. It's free on my website, tjstecker.com. Drop your email and it's yours, along with my newsletter where I share my ups and downs of chasing that book deal. And if this helped, leave a comment. Tell me, what are you working on? I read every single one. So thanks for being here. Go write something, and I'll see you by the fire.